Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 10 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 10 and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter System of Linear Equations. The lessons we're going to cover today are solve a system of equations using augmented matrices, solve a system of equations using any method, and solve a system of equations by graphing. So the chapter we are working on right now is system of linear equations. Very important chapter it is. So today we're going to learn how do we solve the system of equations using augmented matrices, using graphing, and any method you can use. So let's just start with the first lesson, that is solve a system of equations using augmented matrices. Okay, so let's just start with the first example. You are given the equations x equals negative 8 and the other equation you are given is 6x minus 5y equals negative 8. First thing is you have to write down the augmented matrix. You are given the equations. How do we write the matrices? So here it is, right? You have given only x equals negative 8. That means the variable of the x is 1 plus 0y equals negative 8. The second x is 6x plus 5y equals negative 8. So in the matrix, we write only numbers, right? So for x, you have 1, for 0, y, you have 0. Then you have for x, 6, y, 5, and negative 8 and 8, right? Now, what you have to do? Use elementary row operations to transform the left part of the augmented matrix into identity matrix. You have to transform this portion to identity matrix. Identity matrix is 1 0 and 0 1. This is the identity matrix. Yet that just this portion, right? You have to perform the operations on these rows to convert them in 1 0 0 1. The first row is already 1 0. You have nothing to do with the first row, right? How do we do? There are three elementary row operations. Swap any two row. Either you can swap two rows, multiply any row by a non-zero number, you can multiply the rows, or add a multiple of any row to another row. You can add the multiple of row to another row. You can apply these three operations to convert the left part of the matrix into identity matrix, right? Okay, now let's just see how do we convert. So as I have already told you, the first line is already 1 0. You don't have to do anything with the first row, right? That is 1 0. You have to make here, you need to make 0. You have to make this 6 as 0, and here you need to make 1, right? So you want to make 0 here, right? How do you make? You subtract, multiply the first row by 6 and then subtract from the second row. You have to do add negative 6 r1 to r2, right? When you multiply the first equation with negative 6, it would be 6 minus 6 and then negative 5 minus 0, because that is already 0. So 6 minus 6 is 0 and 0 minus 5 is negative 5, right? Okay, now you have to divide this row by negative 1 over 5, because you may want to make 1 over here. You have to apply operation to whole row, right? First that was just negative 8. When you multiply it by the negative 6, that would be 48, right? You multiplied this by 48, negative 8, negative 48, and 8 minus negative 48, so you are left with just 40. Now you divide it by 5, you are left with negative 8. So you can see the first row, you transform the first left part of the matrix to 1 0 and 0 1. Here it is, you transform the first part of the matrix to 1 0 0 1, and here you are left with negative 8 and negative 8. Basically that negative 8 and negative 8 is the solution of the system of linear equation, right? So to solve using augmented matrices, you have to follow three steps. Write the augmented matrix first, then use elementary row operations to transform the left part of augmented matrix to identity matrix, and then you have to state the solution. Now let's just start with the practice questions so that you can understand better. So let's just start with the, okay, here it is, right? But I'm going to solve it on board. X y equals 7 and x minus 3 y negative 17. Y equals 7 and x minus 3y equals negative 17, right? First thing is you need to write the augmented matrix, right? Just rewrite this equation. You don't have any variable for x, so you can say 0x plus 1y equals 7. Now you can write the matrix. From this equation, 0, 1 and 7. From this equation you have 1, negative 3 and negative 17. You have to convert this left portion to the identity matrix. Identity matrix is 1 0 0 1. Here, right? You can see here you have 0 and 1. You need 1 0 here. Just swap these rows, right? Swap R1 and R2. You have 1, negative 3, negative 17 now, 0, 1 and 7 now. You already have 0, 1 over here. You have nothing to do with this. You just have to make 0 over here, right? How do we make 0? If you multiply the R2 by 3, you need to do 3R2 plus R1. Multiply this row to 3 and add it to here, right? Okay. Because minus 3 plus 3 is 0, you have to make 0 over here, right? So 1, you multiply this by 3, that is already 0. 0 times 3 is 0, right? Here you have negative 3. You multiply R2 by 3. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 3. You have negative 17 here. You have to multiply this with 3 also. So you have to plus 21. Here you have 0, 1 and 7. So you are left with 1 plus 0 is 1. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. You have, sorry. Okay, so here you have 1. Then minus 3 plus 3 0. 21 minus 17 is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 minus 17 is 4. You have 0, 1 and 7. So you can see here this is the now identity matrix. You are left with 4 and 7. So the solution of the system is 4 and 7. Got it? That is the solution of the system, that is 4 and 7. The correct option is 4 and 7, right? Option number 2 is the correct option. 4 and 7 is the solution of the system of this equation, right? Okay, the next one is solve using augmented matrices. X equals negative 8 and 6x minus 5y equals negative 8. That's the one we did on the tutorial, isn't it? The solution of this equation is negative 8 and negative 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, solve using augmented matrices. Okay, let's just solve. Minus 5 minus 3y. This is just 13 and this is x equals 1, right? So just rewrite the equation in the form of x and y. You have 1x plus 0y. Now you can write down the augmented matrix, right? That would be, it doesn't matter which equation you write first, right? 1 0 1. This one I'm going to write first, then negative 5, negative 3 and 13, right? So you need to convert this portion to the identity matrix, that is 1 0 and 0 1, right? You here you need to make 0, right? Negative 5 here, you have to, you can add 5R1 to R2, right? So you have 101, negative 5 plus 5, negative 3 plus 0, and 13 plus 5, right? Because you have to multiply 1 time 5 also. That is 101, negative 5 plus 5, 0, negative 3, and 13 plus 5, 18. You need to make 1 over here. Divide this equation, this row by negative 3, right? You have to do negative 1 over 3 R2, right? 101, 0, negative 3 over 3, 18 over negative 3. You have to divide by negative 3, right? So you have 101, 0, negative 3 over 3 is 1, 18, negative 18 over negative 3 is negative 6, right? So you can see here you have the identity matrix, and the solution of the system is now 1 and negative 6. Got it? You can have a look on the question. If you have any question, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. And the next lesson is solve system of linear equation using any method, right? So whatever method you can find easy for you, or it depends on the equation, what type of equations you are given, right? You have to use any method that you can find easy. You can use the substitution method, the elimination method, and the augmented matrices method, right? So let's just start with the next lesson, that is solve a system of equations using any method. Y equals negative 3x plus 8, y equals negative 2x plus 2. Use any method to solve a system of equations, right? Here, such as substitution method is used, right? So y equals negative 3x plus 8 and y equals negative 2x plus 2, right? You have to isolate the variable y, right? So for both the equations, the variable y is already isolated in both the equations, right? You can see here. Y equals negative 3x plus 8 and y equals negative 2x plus 2, right? They both y. That means you can equate them. So just equate them and solve for x. That is negative 3x plus 8 equals negative 2x plus 2. So move negative 2x this side, so that would be plus 8 equals 2. Now move 8 other side, negative 8, negative x equals negative 6. So x equals 6. Now you can plug the result of step 2 into the original equations to solve the variable for other variable, right? You can solve this equation now for the variable y, because you have the variable, you have the value of variable x, that is 6, right? So you can substitute x in the any equation to solve for y. So y equals negative 10. So that means the system solution of the system of equation is 6 and negative 10, right? Okay, let's just start with the practice questions. Let's see which method we use to solve the equation, right? Okay, the first one is 5x minus 2y equals negative 1 and negative 5x plus 4y equals negative 13, right? You can see the x and the y variables are opposite to each other, right? The variables of the x for both the equations are opposite. If you can use the elimination method, then that would be very easy for you. Let's just use the elimination method to solve the equation, right? Whenever you have the variables of the equations like this, like they are same but with the opposite sign, if you can add or subtract these equations, then elimination method is very easy. So you can simply add the equation. 5 minus 5 is 0, 4 minus 2 is 2y, negative 13 minus 1 is negative 14, right? So you can see y equals negative 2. Just two steps you did. So y equals negative 7. 7 times 2 is 14, right? Now you can put y equals 7 in any of the equation and solve for x. 5x minus 2, y is negative 7 and equals negative 1. That is 5x plus 14 equals negative 1. 5x equals negative 1, negative 14. 5x equals negative 15 and x equals negative 3. The correct option is x equals negative 3. So that means the solution of the system of equation is option number 1, that is negative 3 and negative 7, right? So depending on the equations, you can use any method that would be easy to solve the equations, right? Okay, let's just look at the next one. Okay, 3x plus 3y equals negative 18. 3x minus 3y equals 12. Again, you can see the variable y have the same variables but with the opposite signs. That means if you use elimination method, that would be very easy to solve this system of equation. Whenever you have the equations that looks like this, you can use the elimination method. Simply add 3 minus 3 is 0. 6x equals negative 18 plus 2 is negative 6. X equals negative 1, right? Just two steps, you have the answer for one of the variable, right? Now you can substitute this equation in any of the, you can substitute x equals negative 1 in any of the equation and solve for y. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. 3y equals negative 18 plus 3. 3y equals negative 15 and y equals negative 5, right? So that means the solution of the system of equation is negative 1 and negative 5. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, let's just start with the next example. Let's see how do we solve the next one, right? Negative 1, negative 5 is the solution for this one. Next one is 5x plus 9y equals 1. For this one, you can use substitution method, very easy, and the augmented method also, but use substitution one because using substitution is very easy. You are given You have x variable is already isolated. You have the value of x. You simply have to substitute this value of x in equation number 1 and solve for y, right? Like if you use the augmented matrix method, that would be also easy, but go for the substitution method, easiest one. 10 plus 9y equals 1. 9y equals 1 minus 10. 9y equals negative 9. Y equals negative 1, right? So that means the solution is option number 2 is the correct, 1 is the correct option, that is 2, and negative 1, option number 1 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. We're going to learn how do we solve the system of linear equations by graphing, right? So let's just start with the next lesson. And then we are done with this lesson, right? This is very important lesson. Do as many practice questions as you can. So let's just start with the solve a system of equation by graphing. Let's just start with the first lesson, right? Solve the system of equation by graphing. Y equals 2x plus 4 and y equals 3x plus 5. Okay, so how do we solve equations by using the graphing method? Like you are given the first equation y equal to x plus 4, right? Here in this equation, this 4 is the, if you compare this equation to y equals mx plus b, right? That is y equals 2x plus 4. Y intercept is 4 and m is 2, right? You have one of the point, that is x is 0, y is 4. This is the point where graph is touching the y-axis, right? That means you already have y-intercept. And you have the slope. The slope is 2. That means 2 over 1 it is. That means you need to move up 2 points and right 1 point. You have to make a line using these two things, slope and the y-intercept, right? So here is the slope 0, 4. Move right 1 point according to slope and move up 2 points, right? Same thing you have to do with the second equation. The second equation is y equals 3x plus 5. The y-intercept for this equation is 0, 5. The slope is 3. That means you need to move up 3 point and right 1 point, right? Here is the slope. Move right 1 point, move up 3 point. You have to plot these two lines on the same graph. You can find a point of intersection here. So here is the point of intersection, right? And that is the solution of the system of equation. Let's just start with the practice questions. Okay. The equations you are given is y equals negative x minus 2 and compare this equation with y equals mx minus plus b, right? B is negative 2. That means the y-intercept is x is 0, y is negative 2, right? So y is 0 and the second one is slope, that is m equals negative 1, right? That means negative 1 over 1. That means you need to move down 1 and right 1 point. Got it? Okay, if the second equation is y equals 2x plus 1, the y-intercept is 0 and 1. The slope is negative 2 over 1. That means you need to move down 2 point and right 1 point. Got it? Now you have for both the equations, you have the points and the, let's just plot and find the solution. Okay, for the first one, x is 0, y is negative 2. Here it is. Move down 1 point and round 1 point. Here is other point, right? Just join them and make them align. I'll make a later. X is 0, y is 1. Move down 1 point and right 1 point. Here is the other equation. Just join these points and make a line. First, let me just, okay, let me just draw the other point. Here is the other line, right? So here is the point of intersection, right? I think this isn't the exact point. Let's see the, if, okay, let me see. But this isn't, it may be 3 and negative 4. X is 3 and y is negative 4, right? Let's see. 3 and negative 5 it is, right? Because there is something wrong with the points are, because I'm making on the board, the graph is not the exact points we have, right? So that's why it may be here. Basically the point, okay, let me just draw them again, right? 0 negative 2 and down 1 point, right 1 point, then 0 1, down 2, right 1. Okay, now let me just make them. Here is the solution. Negative 5 and 4, right? Let me see which is the correct option. That is 3 and negative 5, right? Option 2 is the correct option because I'm drawing them on board, so they are not the exact points. The method is same. Use the graph paper, draw the exact lines, exact points, you will find the exact answer, right? Because I am doing on the board, so that is difficult for me to find the exact points. Maybe for the next one I will find. Let me try for the second one, right? Okay, y equals negative x and x equals 6. So when x equals 6, y equals negative x. That means 6 and negative 6 is the solution. Negative x is 6. So that would mean y equal negative 6. You have a line over here. Okay, then x equals 6. So that is the line x equals 6. You must have a point of intersection over here. So the solution of the system of equation is 6 and negative 6. X is 6, y is negative 6. 6 and negative 6 is the solution of this system of equation. Option 2 is the correct option. Okay, let's just look this one. Y equals negative 2x. Y equals negative 2x minus 6 and y equals negative x minus 4, right? Okay, let me just find points and slopes from here, right? So from this equation, the y-intercept is negative 6, that is 0 and negative 6. And slope is negative 2, right? That means you need to move down 2 point and right 1 point. Here you have the y-intercept is 0, negative 4. The slope is negative 1. You need to move down 1 and right 1. Okay, 0, negative 6. Here it is. Down 2 point, right 1 point. For the second one, 0, negative 4. Down 1, right 1. Let's just join them and make the lines. Okay, probably they will intersect here somewhere, right? Let's see the solution, right? Because they will intersect here. They will intersect here. 2 and negative 2 is the correct option. No. 2, 2. Negative 2 and negative 2, they will intersect over here. Negative 2 and negative 2 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Because I am drawing these points on the graph, that's why I cannot find the exact points, right? So you can plot these points on graph so that you can find the exact solution, right? Okay, y equals 6, right? This is the line at y equals 6. Okay, okay. The y-intercept is 0, negative 1, right? X is 0, y is negative 1. Here it is. The slope is negative 7. That means you need to move down 7 points and right 1 point. It would be here in the second quadrant. The solution must be negative 1 and 6. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? The solution is negative 1 and 6. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. We are done with the chapter and done with the lesson. We're working on the grade 10 math. The chapter we were working on is system of linear equations. And the lessons we have covered today: solve a system of equations by using augmented matrices, solve a system of equations by using any method, and the one we have just finished is solve a system of equations using graphing method, right? So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we did today. That is your homework until next session, right? So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday 5 to 9. Or either you can join me in the interactive session that would be daily from 4 to 5 and from 9 to 10, right? So if you have any questions related to the lessons we have just finished, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. No questions?